This is the Darshan Talks podcast. Regulatory guy, irregular podcast with host Darshan Kulkarni. You can find the show on Twitter at Darshan Talks or the show's website at darshantalks.com.
So I had someone recently ask me, is legal really necessary on your promotional review teams? There are two recent examples that explain and quantify how important legal is to be included in your promotional review teams. So the most recent case is the case of Insys. Insys Therapeutics is or was an opioid manufacturer recently, and they recently agreed to pay $225 million to settle the federal government's criminal and civil investigations into the company's marketing practices. I say that because most recently there is some news suggesting that they may be going out of business. As part of the settlement, Insys admitted to bribing doctors to prescribe its opioid painkiller, which was meant to treat pain in adult cancer patients. However, five of the top Insys Therapeutics executives were found guilty of racketeering conspiracy by a federal jury for these same practices. The founder of Insys Therapeutics, John Kapoor, is amongst the highest-ranking pharmaceutical executives to be convicted amid the opioid epidemic. Sentencing of this former billionaire is scheduled for September 2019. The Kapoor case is marked as a rare effort by prosecutors to hold individual executives responsible for the opioid epidemic. It's also important to remember that these types of situations may also be subject to things like the Park Doctrine and or the Yates Memo, to the extent the Yates Memo still exists. In the agreement, the drug maker admitted orchestrating a nationwide scheme in which it set up a sham speaker program. Participating doctors were not paid to give speeches, but were instead paid so that they write prescriptions for the Insys Therapeutics fentanyl-based medication Subsys. Often, the painkiller was prescribed to patients who didn't actually need it. The company, as a result, will pay a $2 million fine, forfeit $28 million, and pay $195 million to settle charges that had defrauded the government under the False Claims Act. An Insys spokesperson said that the company may not survive the significant financial troubles that it attributes to legal costs. And as we said recently, there was some information, some suggestion that that's actually where we are. Mallinckrodt, on the other hand, is another company and they announced that the company expects to pay $15.4 million in a settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice after allegations that QuestCore Pharmaceuticals, which Mallinckrodt acquired in 2014, had bribed doctors and their staff to prescribe an incredibly expensive drug. QuestCore allegedly boosted profits for Acthar, a medication primarily used for infants with seizures, by raising the price of the medication by almost 100,000%, from just $40 in 2000 to $38,892. This is despite the fact that Acthar has itself been on the market since 1952, so you can't really attribute the additional cost to extensive marketing and research. Interestingly enough, there's a similar drug called Synacthin that's identical to Acthar that sells for just $33 in Canada. What's interesting is that Mallinckrodt bought the US rights to Synacthin and simply doesn't make it available to American consumers. Mallinckrodt currently rakes in about $1 billion per year from Acthar. Mallinckrodt said that it expects to pay $15.4 million to the DOJ after two whistleblower lawsuits claimed that QuestCore improperly promoted and bribed doctors to prescribe its popular drug Acthar Gel. The suits also claimed that QuestCore defrauded Medicare by illegally marketing the drug, which is being used for treating multiple sclerosis and seizures in patients. From 2011 to 2017, Medicare landed up paying about $2.7 billion, according to publicly available data. Mallinckrodt is being separately sued because of QuestCore's charitable foundation activities between 2010 and 2014. The government accused QuestCore of using the foundation as a conduit to pay illegal kickbacks in the form of copay subsidies to market Acthar as quote-unquote free to doctors and patients, despite raising the price. So it's important to recognize, well, how will your legal and regulatory attorney help you save millions in jail time? So your attorney should be reviewing the transactions. They should be asking questions. Example, why is this charitable foundation here? How is it affecting payments to doctors? Are these speakers really necessary? Is their payment fair market value? If your lawyer understands the regulatory considerations and the compliance issues, they will hopefully ask further questions and evaluate whether your proposed marketing plan is part of a bigger scheme. Hopefully, they will compare to the latest DOJ guidance on effective compliance programs, and that's a topic for another day, and we should probably have a discussion on that anytime. If you think that your company wants to proactively prevent problems, call me, Darshan Kulkarni, your FDA regulatory attorney, at 215-948-8183. That's 215-948-8183. And you can reach me also via email at darshan@conformlaw.com.
Thank you for listening to the Darshan Talks podcast, Regulatory Guy, Irregular Podcast with host Darshan Kulkarni. If you have any questions for Darshan, reach out via Twitter at Darshan Talks or the show's website at darshantalks.com.